Hi everyone, my name is Cheryl and this is my Happy Handcraft Studio. Welcome. I hope everyone is as excited about stitching in 2023 as I am. I can hardly wait to stitch the year away. So please join me on my stitching adventure this year. I'm really excited to get lots of projects completed. I had a lot of fun planning them, and so I'm hoping that that joy continues throughout the year. So I'm going to show you my projects that I have planned for this year so far. These are projects that have some stitches in them, from thousands to just a tiny bit. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I don't like to have a lot of WIPs. And I'm very proud to say that I got through the majority of my WIPs before December. At the beginning of December, I only had 6 WIPs that I was working on. And so I'll show you those 6 to start with. So my first WIP, this is my oldest one, is HoityToity. So HoityToity is a long dog sampler, and I started this January 1st, 2022. So this is the oldest WIP that I have, and I love it. The fabric is a 32 count antique white Lugana, and I'm using the called for DMC. My next project is Changing Seasons from Fox and Rabbit. This is a free mystery SAL that they did in 2022. And it's a big one. And I've decided not to complete it as charted. I'm currently finishing up the word winter, which will be under that top urn. And then I still haven't decided just how much more of this I'm going to do. And so this is on a 32 count Belfast natural. And the colors that I'm using are listed in the description box below. So this one I had started January 10th, 2022. My next WIP is Garden Sampler. So Garden Sampler, just get my paper here, is a free chart on Herscheners. And I started this in April 2022. It is on an even weave 28 count tea-dyed Irish linen. And I'm using DMCs that I changed from the suggested Valdanis. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that one. My next WIP is from MarNic Designs, Remember November. And I have just small start on this one. This is on a 28 count Monaco white, and I'm using most of the DMC that were called for. I started Remember November, May 2022. In July, I started this project, which is a free chart from With Thy Needle and Thread, and I call it Pumpkin Alphabet, and I have this much completed. This is on a 14 count Aida by Zweigart, using the called for DMC. In September, I started Squirrel, and Squirrel is from Mr. Cross Stitch. It's, I think, on a 14 count ivory Aida, using the called for DMC. And then on September 19th, the date of the Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, I started Coronation Dress, or Queen Elizabeth II in Her Coronation Dress by Teresa Gil. This is on a 28 count Vintage Blue Cashel, and I'm using the called for DMC. So these are the projects that I brought into December. Now, I love starting all the new things in December. And so those are the projects that I'll show you next. So when December comes, that's when I want to start all the new things. And so this year I started on December 21st with a solstice start, and my solstice start was from 'Tis the Season. This was in Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching Magazine, Christmas Winter 2021. It's a sub rosa design. Now I've done it on a 28 count even weave in mushroom from MCG Textiles, and I'm using the called for DMC. So 'Tis the Season. So that was the 21st. On the 24th, for Christmas Eve start, I started Labyrinth the Owl. This is from the Little Stitcher. It's on an unknown linen, and I'm using the called for DMC. That was Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, I started a Prairie Santa, and it was this one, the 2006. But I'm going to show you two more because I decided to do 12 by 12. So 12 stitches, 12 new stitches by 12 p.m. New Year's Eve. So 12 new starts. Now I did not do them on the hour. I didn't do them consecutively. During the day, I started 12 new things, and well, I didn't get much done on some of them, but it was a good lesson on what to do and what not to do. All right, so Prairie Schoolers that I started. I started, like I said, the 2006, the 2009, and 2010. I've already finished a previous one. I finished this one. And so there was the start for, that one was the 2006. This is the one I started Christmas Day. And then on New Year's Eve, I got a start on 2 more of them with varying amounts of progress. So I'll have those to work on. Now those are on an 18 count putty, it's called. It's a Zweigart, and I'm using the called for DMC. So I'll have lots of Prairie Schoolers to keep me company. All right, so the first project I actually did on New Year's Eve was Christmas ball. So what I did was I put all my 12 onto a tiny decisions wheel. And whenever I was ready to start one, I pressed the wheel to see what was going to be coming up. And the first one that came up was Christmas ball. And I'll show you the little picture of it. That's what it's going to look like. This is from X Cross Stitch Pattern X on Etsy. And I'm doing it on a 27 count black Linda using the called for colors. And then the next time I spun the wheel, I spun Christmas Snow Globe. So Christmas Snow Globe, I'm doing on this linen. It's a 28 count linen from Permin of Copenhagen. It was a vintage find, so I'm enjoying that one. The next spin was Oology. So I've already finished one Oology egg, and I put 2 more onto the Tiny Decisions wheel. And so this was the first one that came up. And I got that much done. These are done on 28 count ice blue cashel linen. And then the next time it came up, I got this much completed. And I'm not even sure which way is up. I'll be sure to check that before I add the next parts to it. Okay, and then after that, I spun Bobbles Galore. And this is a Blackwork pattern that was released before Christmas by Peppermint Purple. And I'm doing it on this printed Aida from Charles Craft DMC. And I'm using the thread colors from my watermelon tourmaline. So I'm just going to pick the colors as I go. I like the color combination, so now I'm going to put it onto my bobbles. Okay, then after that, I spun Merry Christmas, and this is a Doreen Jones pattern. And for this one, I got just a little bit of the border completed. I'm not sure what this fabric is. It's even weave khaki. I think it's a 16 count, and I'm using the called for DMC. The next one that I spun was Christmas Deer, and that shows you what Christmas Deer looks like. And just a little bit of a start there. This again is X cross stitch pattern X on Etsy, and it's on a Charles Craft 28 count Monaco white. So the next stitch is a seasonal stitch, but it's not Christmas. This one is a Teresa Gil, and it was from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching Magazine 2020 Spring. And this one I'm doing on a 32 count chocolate raspberry linen. I wish it had scent as well. It would be great to work on. So looking forward to that one. My next spin was Happy Mood Point. Oh, it goes this way. Happy Mood Point. And for this one, Happy Mood Point is SS089 Sampler Quaker, and I purchased it on Etsy. I'm doing this on a 32 count Lugana Pearl Gray, and the DMC color I'm using is 3750. And the last one from New Year's Eve is this one here. It's called Little Reindeer. And this is a Susanna Lima cross stitch. It was in just cross stitch Christmas Ornaments 2022. And this is on a little scrap of 32 count Pearl Gray Lugana, and I'm using the called for DMC. So what did I learn? I'm never doing it again. That's what I learned. For me to sit that much and stitch in a day isn't good for me. So I do love the 12 starts before the new year. And so, you know, whether it be the 12 days after Christmas, I will do something like that. But I'll start 1 or maybe 2 a day instead of 12 on one day. I do like to have a lot of stitches started by January because I like to take part in Bringo. And if you don't know Bringo, Bringo is a brainchild of Seazook Stitch, and she sets out 25 prompts, and you find a stitch to go with each prompt. Now, if you only have 6 WIPs, it's really hard to take part. And so I like to have a variety of WIPs so I can take part in that challenge. And then as well, I'm active in Semi-Sane Stitchers, and so there's always challenges there that I like to take part in and to have lots of stitches. So yes, I like to start a lot of WIPs in December. No, I won't do 12 in one day again. But, you know, you don't know unless you try. It was fun. It was fun to press the tiny decisions wheel and see what was coming up next. And that's something that I did find out about myself as a stitcher. I like chance. I love all my stitches, and so I really don't care which one I work on. I just don't want to have decision fatigue, and so I just press that button, or I'm involved in a challenge, and all my decisions are made for me. I make the decisions of what I want to stitch. These different challenges give me a guideline of when I'm going to stitch it, and so that works for me. So, plans for 2023. So right now I have 24 WIPs. Oh, I forgot to show you the 2 WIPs I've started since the new year. So my new year, new start is Kingdom of Books. So I've been watching Brenda, the handwork maniac, work on this for a couple of years. I love it. I wanted to start it, and so I decided to start it as my New Year's Day start. This is on 32 count Belfast linen in mocha. And it sort of resembles the background of the bookshelf that these books are on. So I was really excited to start that one. And then I was mentioning I'm working on Bringo. Well, one of the prompts is to do a magazine new start. And so I had this prepared for that prompt. And this is going to be Rudolph, and this is Just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornament Magazine 2022. This is a denim dyed, a self denim dyed linen. I'm not sure what it is, but those are my 2 new starts for January 2023, which is wonderful. Okay, so my goals. So my goals are always to finish my oldest WIPs. I don't want things to linger. So my oldest projects are 2022. So they were started last year. And the oldest one of that is HoityToity. So HoityToity is my #1 get it done project. And so any challenge that comes up where I can make that the piece that I work on, that's what I do. I have a few larger projects, but right now the majority of my projects are small projects. They're small seasonal projects. And so I imagine that I will get them done maybe 1 a month or 2 a month as we continue. I do have a few more projects kitted up, but they're large projects. And so for me right now to start a large project, I have to finish a large project. I find that when I hear cross stitchers getting bogged down and worried about WIPs, it's because they have so many large starts. It takes a long time to do a large project. It's hours a day. I can average 300 stitches a day. I can do less than that, I can do more than that, but 500 is about my limit. And so I want to be sure that I get through my stitches in a timely manner because I love them. I want to get them done. So through Semi-Sane Stitchers, I have set my yearly goals, and the #1 goal is HoityToity. So that is the very first thing that I plan on finishing, and then working down through those first 6 projects that I showed you today. So those are my plans. Sorry, I heard something. For my longtime subscribers, one of the main changes that you might notice is I don't have any stitch-alongs planned for this year. So last year I had a daily temperature library chart. I had a weekly Blackwork SAL from Peppermint Purple. And I had 2 monthly stitch-alongs, Jeanette Douglas's Mini Bouquets and Fox and Rabbit's Changing Seasons. I don't have any of those planned at this time. I am looking at Fox and Rabbit's Mystery Sal. I'll see if that one becomes more interesting to me in the next couple of months. And so that might be a large start that I start later in the year. But for right now, I don't have any of those planned WIPs that I'm working on. And so it feels really nice actually for a change not to have kind of a regulated stitch that I'm working on. So it's a new year. I'm really thrilled with the projects I have. I'm looking forward to doing all of them. They are all really inviting me to stitch, which is wonderful. So what can you expect? I hope to be back next week with a regular FlossTube update showing my progress on my WIPs. I have progress on some other handcrafts that I want to show you. And I have a couple of good book reviews for you. So I'm really looking forward to continuing this wonderful friendship that we have on FlossTube. I wish you all the very happiest 2023. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.